focus on the less. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I got your Watchlist coming in on May 21st, 2021, and the stock market is melting up. And I got 3 stocks that I'm looking at coming into tomorrow. But today was an epic bounce. It was very, very aggressive. Even from the morning, it lasted a little bit longer than usual, shortly after European close. But really, it wasn't the catalyst. This was the crypto regulation and more even corporate stuff we got from Yellen. But the market took it in stride and really, really loved it. But you saw a big gain across the board with the NASDAQ closing up almost 2% and the SPY a very solid 1%. However, not everything played along, and this is what is going to make tomorrow that much more important. So I hope you're ready. But we got a lot to talk about. I want to go over what happened in the market today, what we're looking at tomorrow, the plays that we made today, and then the plays that we have to finish off the week. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watchlist come to life. And yes, if stock market and economic questions are not enough and you're really wondering what type of furniture I have in my house, then yeah, we're the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post or watch below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. So right off the bat, like I said, you got a nice bounce today. You saw the market go up. The dollar came back after going up yesterday, and the bonds came up, meaning the yields went down today. So it was a literal reversal of yesterday, but that is what created the divergence. We'll talk about it, but everything really did move according not only to what I was expecting, but the fact is you saw that dollar reverse, bonds moved hand in hand, and then the market did very well. That was the main thing, but now you actually did get a surprising amount of policy and regulation talks. Today was pretty calm in the morning. You did get the good jobless claims number, and this is an interesting metric here. Why? Because the jobless claims kind of correlates there with the people actually requesting assistance and all of that. Now, even though the number is down, it is month over month, so there's still somewhat of additional people. It's not really counting the people from a year ago if you think about that. However, that data was good, wasn't too crazy or didn't have too big of an effect, but you saw that in the morning, and then that big drop that we got on the SPY, it really started to clap crypto, and you could see it here. You had a lot of momentum. It really didn't matter European close or anything today, but the market came back on that crypto regulation, and these were some of the comments made at the G20, but pretty much the Treasury was discussing about flagging or having brokerages flag any transaction with $10,000 of Bitcoin, kind of like if you do a withdrawal or deposit or even like a car dealership, you know, depending on the amount, and if it's cash, they require you to fill out a form or they send that disclosure. So this was an interesting piece of news. You saw it affect crypto, and now people got a little bit worried here, but now at the same time, it seems as if this news would only really affect people using Bitcoin in an illicit fashion, or if people are trying to avoid taxes, even though a lot of people think that's what people do. Given this whole retail institutional wave, I just don't think that is the issue. So market was able to brush it off. Even crypto got to bounce a little bit, but you saw that, and now you also got more updates on that global tax, and this is what made it interesting today, because last time we heard it earlier this week, you could have argued that's what could have caused some volatility, but there was a lot of news, and you didn't really see that today. Again, the market took it in stride, and then now, even after hours, a little bit more stuff with tax enforcement. You got some at close and after hours, but overall, a lot of policy discussion. Other than that, there really wasn't much, and now you could see how it affected different assets, and that's why this same theory of watching the bonds and everything else and the dollar, it's going to be very, very key here. So coming into tomorrow, I think tomorrow is going to be a really, really important day. I talked about how I was expecting kind of a bounce here, and that's why tomorrow is crucial, because this was a big bounce. So if we do get more upside tomorrow, I think we're going to be pretty much near the all-time highs. I wouldn't be surprised to see the momentum carry it there, and whether it's there or right below, that'll give some positive momentum coming into Monday. However, if tomorrow ends up being a red day, that is going to be a very bad sign in my opinion. Why? Because pretty much over the last like 2 or 3 weeks, you haven't seen a Friday close. We barely saw some of these Monday closes, but at the end of the day, you've ended Friday on a good note. Pretty much a lot of investors have been willing to hold into the weekend, and the weekend hasn't really shocked them. You got a lot of even good news here at the end of the week. There's the Gaza ceasefire and all that, so some people think that might ease some stuff, but overall, you can see we've had some relatively strong Fridays coming into the last month. So depending depending on how this plays out with everything we saw this week and even where crypto and the bonds and the dollar and the rest of the global currencies are, I think that is going to be very, very key. So we have to keep our eyes out for that. But overall, I wouldn't be surprised for a slower news day. Again, we've got a lot of bad news this week, and there's been a lot of digestion, and we still have to digest the Fed and everything we saw yesterday, as well as what you're even seeing with commodities. A lot of them have turned around even from the CPI, which is interesting. So the real key is going to be watching those bonds and watching the global currencies and then seeing how kind of all of these days and weeks all string together to set us up here for the middle half of the year as we start to get through summer. So I hope you're ready, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, I got 3 different plays that I'm looking at for tomorrow. I did make one play today, but I didn't really like it. We'll still go over it. But the first play I want to watch, I saw this dropping after hours and kind of looking at it after hours when I got to see. I was like, this one's kind of sticking out to me, so I really want to see how these play out. I have one of those old plays, but sadly, I bought it at the beginning of the year. I thought 6 months was enough time, and we saw a lot of things with time actually get clapped, believe it or not. So, the play is going to be Humana and UNH. I want to see them. It looks like Humana is a little bit weaker, but healthcare has had a very interesting week. You've seen how it played out, but pretty much you're seeing some of these healthcare stocks move like technology stocks, which is weird. So I want to see if they continue to kind of break this weird trend from the Dow. So if you could kind of see here, here's Humana, but then let me throw up the Dow. You could really see the last couple of days, you had a little bit of a drop and it held up, but this wasn't too big of a drop. And now you're seeing them kind of really just sell off here. So there wasn't earnings or anything like that. So I have no plays on that, but I want to watch because you also saw some pretty weird movements out of these value and healthcare stocks last time we saw stuff with TLT. So I'll get into that here at the end when we get into there, but I want to watch those 2 plays. I think they're going to be key. However, the premiums were really, really expensive, so be careful on that. So that is going to be the first play. The second play I want to watch is MNMD. This is your mushroom psychedelic play. I'm going to be watching this tomorrow because you saw it pop today. It's still a cheap stock. It's moved pretty interesting, and you got news related to their FDA trials. And as Kevin O'Leary has said in the past, that is the most important part, and I agree with that. And then there was also at the same time news about a bill hitting the Senate floor about making it legal for psychedelics to be able to carry them or something along those lines. So that is going to be interesting. I want to watch it tomorrow, but I think it's going to get activity because both of the Kevins, Kevin O'Leary and the YouTube Kevin, they are going to probably be pumping this tomorrow, and they plan to be talking about it. So it's a cheap stock. Always remember, you can play the shares instead of the options and probably get a better deal. It might cost more, but it will be a little bit safer. So I think this one might have activity tomorrow. I am going to be watching that. I think it will be key, but I am not in it. But now finally to the last play, Wells Fargo. I talked about this yesterday and even how it performed today. I really, really want to watch this. I want to see if it's going to be one of these downside leaders in terms of value today, and then see if it's kind of lagging the Dow in a weird way. If you've seen any of the bank stocks, just like the comparison with Humana and the Dow, again, here is the Dow, but you can see Wells Fargo, it's only dropped for 2 days out of this pretty much whole month. It kind of oscillated and stayed around there. So it's kind of a weird lag because now as things are kind of leveling out and moving, you're starting to see some of these move. I think the same thing with Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan as well too. So I'm going to keep my eye out for this. We have those place markers, and depending on the premiums and even what I see tomorrow, and if we see that weakness, I am really going to be eyeing this play. Even then, I'll probably be watching this one next week as well too. So those are going to be the main plays as far as everything else. I also want to be watching Snapchat. Somebody asked if I would put my leaps back on. I think I'm going to be done with those. Again, we already reacted at this moment right before earnings. We still have great exposure with the shares. If anything, I would probably wait till the next earnings to consider it, just given how you've seen a lot of these growth stocks move. But Snapchat was looking really, really good, had an awesome move, and it was just literally one thing after another today. They announced 500 million monthly users. They announced a partnership with Poshmark that they're going to be working with like a YouTube, and just one thing after the next. It was kind of like that last time about a month or two ago when we saw the market getting a little bit crazy, and then all of a sudden Snap just had all of this news. So they killed it again today. That was it. I would watch for a follow through because last time it did have some carryover, so keep your eyes out for them. Watch oil. They were down again, and you really want to watch the commodity stocks here now too to see how it plays out, especially depending on if we go to all-time highs and just how people respond to any of of these inflation fears, but now with the Gaza ceasefire as well as the JCPOA, that's the Iran deal, I believe there was news today saying that they're expecting the sanctions to get lifted, and I think oil dropped off of that. So depending on what happens with there, that could have an effect on some of these oil stocks. So keep your eye out for them. Wells Fargo, like we said, UWMC, it was doing a little bit good, but the fact that it's holding up here, this is really going to be the moment of truth. Again, you've seen a lot of run-ups. This has lasted the longest. It's kind of basing out here. So really what you want to keep seeing is the volume and for it to go up. But I am going to watch this again. I haven't used my long-term deposit just yet, but I really just like the value on this play. I've been saying that. Surprisingly, the hype around this stock, a lot of people, Reddit, Wall Street Bets, they keep talking about it. So I want to watch out for it, but tomorrow's going to be a key expiration. So depending on how that plays out, we will see tomorrow. So keep your eye out for them. Watch Lidar. This is a Lidar play, and there was news from, I believe, one of those electric car magazines or something. They said they spotted a Model Y with the equipment, but if you guys remember, that same news came out a couple months ago during, or even at the beginning of the year, and there was even talks about Elon or Tesla just talking trash about the Lidar. So this was interesting. It had a pop, but I would keep your eye out for that and watch them. Watch Roblox. They did good again. Very, very surprised. Why? Because today was a big bounce, and now they're right back to the end of the level. Volume keeps increasing. We're running out of time on those contracts, unfortunately, so I want to see how it plays tomorrow, but I think things might get freed up, but it's at a crazy level, ready to break out, and you could even see it's usually had the pop and drops a lot quicker, so it's holding up here. Kind of just, you could see the momentum. It's like it's waiting, and that's why, interesting enough, I want to see if it pairs with the market or not. So watch them. And then BBIG, this one was talked about a lot. People were talking about, me even talking about it, but we pulled this up on stream, and just the biggest thing that stuck out from all of it, it was the option activity. There was literally 104,000 calls that were purchased, if you could see right here on the option statistic, and only 790 puts with, here it is, 60% of those options, about 62,000 contracts, were literally traded at the ask, meaning pretty much they bought it on the market. So that's pretty wild, and it's just very, very rare to see this big of an imbalance on the option chain. So going to be watching that again. If anything, if I would have played this, I would have gone for the shares. I just think that's the easy play, because even though there's a certain amount of contracts available, there's still a premium, and you could get this pretty cheap if you think about it. At least if it does fail, you're not going to be spending 200% on the IV and then really get clapped out of it. So keep that in mind and be smart, but watch them. Watch Humana, watch UNH, any of these. UNH is more stable with the Dow there, but Humana kind of diverged a little bit, so watch them. Watch AMAT. They had earnings. It looked like they did good, but then they came down. Either way, I would watch them for a continuation. This is usually a big mover, so I think you might be able to get a pretty good continuation for tomorrow. So watch them. Watch Boeing. Boeing has a very interesting daily chart. If you guys could see it, it's pretty much inverse the Dow since the Dow started going up here. It's like an anti-value play. It's like the ultimate value play, and that's why when value picked up, it kind of became third tier here. So watch them. There's usually good options on it. Again, last time we played it, we got that option, but we didn't take the profits fast enough, but we were expecting one of those moves. I kind of want to see here. It may be time, but we might have to burn another month or two. But I think Boeing is getting to trade very, very interesting, and even then, you could see it there. It's just one of the more unique, bigger, better companies we've seen that kind of was a fallen angel. So watch them. Watch MindMed, like we said, or it's MNMD. You could see the pop after the news and the phase trial stuff. And then Cisco. I made a play on this. This was the only play I made. I just didn't really like it. I think I got hustled a little bit. It had a big volume. They had their conference call. Their guidance was bad. I grabbed 2 of the June 70 puts for 65 cents each. Figured I would be able to make one free off of this big drop. It was big on volume. You could even see, even on the daily, a lot of volume today in general, but they did announce that they were going to do a buyback shortly after. So I'll watch. I want to see how this one plays out. But overall, it wasn't my favorite play. But now, finally, to probably what could be my favorite play. However, I just don't know the timing with it. That's the only thing that sucks here. And you can see some of the confusion here today, but TLT. So keep your eye out on the bonds. And this is what I'm trying to show you here. The bonds went up about 1% here, or 1% on TLT. You come to the dollar, it says that it closed up here, but it really didn't close up 1%. It actually was down from yesterday, and you can see it gave back up everything. So what happened, dollar moved up, rates went higher, and then it flip-flopped here. So everything kind of came back to normal, but the real point I'm trying to highlight here, you still have a giant divergence. SPY is still at this key level. It's approaching that low. You saw the global currencies move. You see where the SPY is, or that's at least the Dow, but imagine the SPY, if we come back up to all-time highs like I'm telling you, and you even see TLT. If TLT and the dollar kind of don't start moving along with it, the divergence is going to get wider. And then if you have a bigger break here, it's starting to really, really look like this moment. And this is just all I'm waiting for. You had the 5-day stall out after this little 3 or 4 day drop. That's exactly what you got here. It's waiting. You're getting now the little bounce mode. So that's why I'm saying how we play out tomorrow and then Monday, Tuesday, it's going to be very, very key. And depending on what else we see over the weekend, global currencies, anything like that, I'm sure it's going to give us our signal. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember a lot of people got talent, but not everybody can endure, baby. But the code loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.